Luxury outlets want you to believe they're this magical wonderland where you can scoop up the same Gucci bag or Saint Laurent tote you saw in boutiques, just with a massive discount. But here's the truth, that fantasy is carefully crafted. Behind those big red sale signs and glossy storefronts, there are secrets luxury outlets hope you'll never discover. And once you know them, trust me, you'll never shop the same way again. You'll start seeing the tricks, the illusions, and the fine print for what they are. And you'll finally understand why some women look truly elegant and polished, while others end up with bags that cheapen their look, even though both technically shopped luxury. I'll also share a few timeless handbag alternatives worth saving for. Because if you're serious about elevating your style, it's better to own one piece that lasts a decade than 3 outlet versions that fall apart in a year. And don't worry, I've linked my personal favorite picks below if you want to check them out later. So let's jump into the very first secret. Secret 1. Most outlet bags are made just for outlets. This is probably the biggest myth people believe about outlets, that what you're buying is simply unsold stock from boutique stores. In reality, the majority of handbags you see on those shelves were never in a flagship store to begin with. They're what the industry calls made-for-outlet products. And here's what that really means. When a brand like Coach, Michael Kors, or even Prada produces outlet stock, they cut corners. They might use thinner leather that doesn't age as beautifully. They'll simplify the interior. Fewer compartments, cheaper lining fabric, less detailed finishing. The hardware might be lighter, with coatings that chip faster. On the surface, the bag still carries the logo. It still has the right shape, and it still makes you feel like you're buying into the brand. But the craftsmanship behind it, not the same as what you'd get in a full-price boutique. Think about it. How could brands possibly sell a $700 bag for $199 at an outlet without making compromises? It's not charity, it's manufacturing strategy, and they know most shoppers won't question it because the logo on the front does the heavy lifting. Now, let me be clear, outlet bags aren't always bad. They'll still last you longer than a random fast fashion tote. But if you're chasing the elegance and polish of true luxury, you won't find it in these watered down versions. What's a smarter move? Skip the temptation of 2 or 3 disposable outlet pieces and instead save up for one timeless investment bag. A Saint Laurent Sac de Jour is a perfect example. It's sleek, minimal, and screams quiet luxury without shouting logos. And yes, I've linked my favorite recommendations below if you want to explore what real investment bags look like. Secret 2. The price tag illusion. Let's talk about the second biggest trick, the inflated original price. You know how outlet tags usually have 2 numbers? One that says something like original price $895 and right below it outlet price $349. That's designed to trigger your bargain hunting brain. It feels like you're saving hundreds of dollars, but here's the catch. In many cases, that bag never truly sold at $895. That higher number is made up or exaggerated. It's an MSRP, a suggested retail price that exists mostly for marketing. Here's how it works. The brand produces a made-for-outlet bag. They assign it an original price to make the discount look dramatic. But if you tried to find that exact bag in a flagship boutique, you couldn't because it was never there. The original price is more of a psychological anchor than a real market number. This is why some people leave outlets thinking, wow, I just saved $500, when in reality, they might have saved $50, if anything. It's all in how the numbers are presented. Now, don't get me wrong, outlets can occasionally carry genuine boutique leftovers, especially for past season items. But those are usually mixed in with racks of outlet-only stock. Unless you really know how to tell the difference, it's easy to get swept up in the illusion. So here's my advice. Before you buy anything at an outlet, look up the boutique version online. For example, if you're eyeing something similar to a wallet on chain, check the boutique price first. If the numbers don't align, or if you can't even find the exact model in boutiques, that's your clue it was designed for outlets. This one step alone can save you from being tricked into thinking you scored a deal, when in reality you just bought a lower quality piece for what it's actually worth. Secret 3. Outlet warranties and care aren't the same. Here's something most people never think about until it's too late: the aftercare. When you buy a luxury handbag in a boutique, you're not just paying for the bag, you're paying for the entire experience: quality control, careful packaging, customer service, and in many cases, repair or replacement guarantees. If your belt bag stitching comes loose a year later, boutiques are more likely to fix it for you, sometimes even at no cost. But outlet purchases? Totally different story. Most outlets have shorter return windows, sometimes as little as 14 days. Repairs may not be covered, especially if the item was made for outlet. And if the product is marked final sale, you're stuck with it, no matter what happens. That's why so many shoppers end up disappointed months later when zippers break or lining tears and the outlet shrugs its shoulders. And that's the hidden cost nobody tells you about. This is why I personally would rather own one boutique piece than 3 disposable outlet bags. Yes, the upfront investment is bigger, but the aftercare, quality, and longevity mean you actually spend less over time. Secret 4. Defects, irregulars, and past season surprises. Here's where things get a little tricky. Not everything in an outlet is made for outlet. Sometimes you do see real boutique pieces, but there's a catch. Those boutique items often end up in outlets for one of 3 reasons. They're from past seasons, they're overstock, or they're slightly defective. Now, when I say defective, I don't always mean it's falling apart. Sometimes it's subtle. A stitch that's a little off-center, a zipper pull that doesn't perfectly match the metal hardware, or a lining that's not cut evenly. To the average shopper, these imperfections don't scream at you. But if you're someone who appreciates true luxury craftsmanship, you'll notice the difference. And here's the thing, these irregulars are often mixed right into the racks with the rest of the outlet stock. No one is putting a little red sticker saying, by the way, this one's a factory second. You have to train your eye to look closely, inspect the seams, test the zippers, check the symmetry. Because while it might feel like a steal in the moment, a bag that's irregular can cause long-term regret. Past season items are a slightly different story. If you don't mind carrying last year's colour or style, you might actually find a gem. For example, maybe you spot a Gucci Jackie in a discontinued shade. That could be a good buy if the craftsmanship is boutique level. But here's where I caution you. Trends fade fast. If you're drawn to something only because it's cheap and trendy, you may not love it next year. Secret 5. The environment is designed to make you overspend. Have you ever noticed how outlet malls are almost always far outside the city? They're usually off a highway in some remote location or bundled into a big shopping village you have to drive an hour to reach. That's not by accident, that's by design. Here's the psychology. When you've invested time, gas, and energy just to get there, you already feel committed. You want to make the trip worth it. So even if you don't see anything you absolutely love, you're more likely to walk out with something, just to justify the effort. Inside the outlets, the design tricks continue. Bold red sale signs everywhere. 70% off stickers plastered across windows, racks arranged so the cheapest items are front and center, nudging you deeper inside. Music playing at just the right tempo to keep you browsing longer. And of course, the ever dangerous limited time messaging, like final clearance today only. It's not just marketing, it's behavioral science. They know the average shopper won't stop to check whether the item is boutique quality, whether the original price is even real, or whether the bag will last. They'll just see the words sale, outlet, luxury, and swipe their card. This is why so many women leave with 3 or 4 bags they didn't plan to buy. And guess what? A month later, half of those bags are sitting in the closet, barely used, while the trip feels like it demanded a souvenir. I've been there myself. I once went into an outlet thinking, I'll just browse. Next thing I knew, I was walking out with 2 discounted totes that I didn't even like that much once I got home. The price seduced me, not the product. And honestly, they didn't hold up. Within a year, the corners frayed, the straps sagged, and I ended up donating them. That's why now I stick to one golden rule: never let the environment make the decision for you. Before you buy, ask yourself, would I want this bag at full price? If the answer is no, then don't buy it, even if it's 80% off. Instead, I put that money toward one bag I truly adore. I didn't get it in an outlet. I saved. I waited. And now it's one of the most worn pieces in my collection, and it still looks incredible years later. Secret 6. Exclusivity doesn't live in outlets. Now this one might sting a little, but it's the truth. If you're hoping to find an it bag in an outlet, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Outlets are not where exclusivity lives. You'll almost never see a Birkin, a Kelly, or even highly sought-after boutique pieces casually sitting on a discounted shelf. Brands guard their prestige collections fiercely. If those pieces are left unsold, they're more likely to be pulled into archives, used for VIP private sales, or simply destroyed rather than diluted into the outlet system. What you will find are entry-level pieces made in higher volume, often designed specifically to look close enough to the iconic designs without being identical. That way, the brand keeps its exclusivity in boutiques while still making money off the outlet audience. This is why so many people walk out of outlets with bags that feel generic. They don't carry the same cachet, and they're instantly recognizable as outlet versions to anyone who knows luxury well. And unfortunately, that undercuts the whole reason you probably wanted a designer bag in the first place: to feel elevated, timeless, and refined. Here's the alternative. If exclusivity really matters to you, skip the outlets and shop boutiques or trusted resale. The pre-loved market is especially good for this. You might find a gently used Lady Dior or a discontinued Gucci bamboo handlebag for less than retail, but with all the boutique level craftsmanship. And those bags, they'll actually hold value because they're recognized as boutique originals, not outlet stock. And here's something else. Exclusivity isn't just about resale. It's about how you feel when you carry the bag. A Prada Galleria from a boutique feels different. It carries history, craftsmanship, and recognition. Outlet versions don't carry that same story, and that's why they rarely give you the same confidence boost. Secret 7. The outlet-only color trap. Let me let you in on one of the most clever tricks outlets play: color. You'll often see handbags in unusual shades: bright purples, lime greens, odd metallics, or strange seasonal prints. And it feels exciting, right? You think, wow, I've never seen this exact version of the bag before. I must have stumbled onto something rare. But here's the truth. Those colors are often designed only for outlets. They're not rare. They're intentionally created to move faster at discounted prices. Why? Because women who already own a black tote or a beige crossbody are more tempted to experiment with color if it's cheap. You think, it's only $200, why not try something bold? The problem is, those shades rarely age well. A neon pink satchel might feel fun in the store, but when you're back to your everyday wardrobe, your neutrals, your workwear, your denim, it doesn't match. And when it doesn't match, you won't wear it. So the bag sits in your closet, reminding you of money spent on a piece you never actually reach for. Luxury brands know this. It's why their boutiques highlight timeless shades: camel, navy, ivory, black, because those are what women keep and love for years. Just think of the Chanel classic flap in black caviar leather with gold hardware. That combination has never gone out of style, and it never will. Now, if you want a bag that feels playful without looking dated, I'd recommend picking shades that are still versatile. Deep burgundy, forest green, or even a muted powder blue. They're interesting without being impossible to style. A Gucci Marmont in dusty rose is far more wearable than a neon tote you'll regret. This is where I'll remind you, I've linked some of my favorite timeless handbags in the description below. If you're tempted to experiment with color, go for shades you'll actually enjoy long term, not just outlet gimmicks. Secret 8. You don't actually save as much as you think. This one is huge, and honestly, maybe the most important secret of them all. Outlets thrive on the illusion of savings. Those giant 70% off signs, they're almost never telling the whole story. Here's how it works. Brands will list an original price on the tag that's either inflated or that refers to a bag that never existed in boutique stores in the first place. For example, you might see a tote listed as original $495, outlet price $199, and you think, wow, I'm saving almost $300. But the truth, that bag was designed to be sold at $199 from day one. The original price is a marketing anchor. It makes you feel like you're winning, when really you're just paying exactly what they planned all along. And here's the kicker. Sometimes you actually end up spending more overall, because when women think they're saving, they buy more. Instead of one carefully chosen handbag, they walk out with 3 outlet bags, all at $199 each. That's nearly $600 gone, often on pieces that don't deliver boutique-level craftsmanship, don't hold resale value, and don't give you the same satisfaction. I'll be honest with you, I've fallen into that trap before. Years ago, I thought I was being clever, scooping up 3 discounted outlet bags in one go. But none of them gave me that thrill when I styled my outfits. Compare that to the day I bought my classic luxury bag. That one bag, I wore it every day for years. It felt like a part of me, and if I ever decide to resell it, it'll still have value. That's the real secret luxury outlets don't want you to know. Less is more. One timeless, well-made bag will serve you 100 times better than a closet full of outlet impulse buys. Conclusion: the truth about luxury outlets. So let's recap. Outlets aren't evil. You can find pieces there, and sometimes you'll even score something worthwhile. But once you know the secrets, you realize they're not giving away boutique treasures. They're built to sell volume, not exclusivity. Most of what you see is made for outlet stock. Bags designed to look luxury without the boutique quality. The environment is set up to make you overspend. The colors can be traps. And the discounts? Often illusions. The truth is, if you want your style to feel elegant, polished, and truly timeless, outlets won't give you that. Boutique craftsmanship, heritage designs, and carefully chosen pieces will. Think of the Prada Galleria, the Lady Dior, or the Fendi Peekaboo. Those aren't just handbags, they're investments in your style, your confidence, and your presence. Now here's my advice. Shop smarter, not faster. Don't chase quantity, chase quality. If that means buying 1 bag this year instead of 3, trust me, you'll thank yourself later. And remember, I've linked all the bags I've mentioned and a few of my favorite timeless picks in the description below. If you want to explore bags that won't just sit in your closet, that's where I'd start. Because at the end of the day, looking elegant isn't about having dozens of bags. It's about choosing the right one, the one that elevates every outfit, the one that tells your story without you having to say a word. And outlets, well, they'll never tell you that secret.